All right, let's get into our first major discussion of the day now. Last month, Amnesty International released a damning report on the oppression of Nigerian military in the northeast.
Indeed. Now, the rights group accused the military of rape, torture and starvation of women by military personnel in an internally displaced persons camp in the northeast. Based on the revelations from the 89-page report of Amnesty International, the Senate has resolved to probe the accusations made in that report.
A 7-man ad hoc committee headed by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Senator David Umaru, has now been set up to look into the allegations and will report back to the Senate in 2 weeks. Yeah, we still have Dr. John with us, a leadership and communication strategist, and joining us is a human rights lawyer, Justice Uwebu. Justice, good morning.
Good morning. It is my pleasure once more.
Thank you so much. All right, let's get into this issue now. The Amnesty, this is not the first time, this is not the second time, this is not the third time Amnesty International is coming up with reports and allegations against the military, especially in the northeast, what they're doing and inhuman treatment and so on. But the military will always say it is not true. But looking at this now, the Senate is saying we have to probe this. What is your overview generally? Let's start from there on this allegation against the military and their rebuttal.
Well, if you can recall, I've been on this forum and some other places when this issue came up, and I made it categorically that Amnesty International will not just come out with frivolous allegations, so to say. And remember, it's not only Nigeria that Amnesty International is even putting their searchlight on. It's a global thing. So when such thing happens, I think it should be an addendum for the country that is involved, particularly, to investigate and know. Actually, let me tell you, my father, when he was alive, told me that there's no smoke without a fire. Amnesty International, what is their interest in Nigeria? They cannot just come up and bring up one thing or the other. So the onus is now on the federal government to find out whether there is an element of truth in such allegation. And I thank God for the move the National Assembly is taking now. Because I said initially, as far as I'm concerned, I do not trust the executive to constitute any panel. Because remember, I think in 2017, the vice president set up a committee to investigate such thing. And a panel was actually set up. And we had that, you know, people were called to come and give testimony and evidence and all that. Up to today, nobody has known the outcome of that committee. It was not even made public and all the rest.
The reports.
The reports. So, which means the executive has failed. Because the arm you're trying to investigate is also a department of the executive. That is the problem we have here. We don't live above board, no matter who is involved. But now, if you remember, I said it last time, that the only body that can, you know, investigate this matter and maybe have something is only the National Assembly.
All right, and looking at, let me come to you, looking at this, you know, move by the Senate now, which of course is part of the National Assembly, and from what we've been hearing since that report by Amnesty International came out, the executive somewhat on the defensive, you know, and then of course the army coming out to say that yes, no, it's not true. So, and the National Assembly now doing the needful, because that's what many have said, that they're supposed to set up a committee, look into it and make the report public. Are you hopeful that anything positive could come out of it?
I will only be hopeful if we get, and I'm coming from leadership point of view this morning, if you know that if we take rulership in Nigeria or leadership in Nigeria as government, you know, government is continuum. If we do not take it as administration, now any report that comes out now, the administration of the present president will think, oh, it's targeted at me. Meanwhile, during the former president, there were also reports of illegality of the military. The government of that time also took it as its administration's problem. It is Nigeria's problem. And until we continue to look at it as government, and that's why you see the federal government or the executive always coming out defensive. You don't need to defend some of these things because, as Justice said, many of them are actually reality. But because you think it's targeted at your administration, then you run defensive. And this is where my fear is. Now that you think it's actually targeted to bring down your government, even if the National Assembly does what is right, who is going to execute the report? That's where my fear is. Because number one now, the National Assembly and the executive are not even seeing eyeball to eyeball. So if the report at the end of the day comes out and does not favor the military, we, the executive arm of the federal government, have the political will to execute whatever that is contained in the report.
Will the executive will accept the report in the first place?
In the first place. So that's my fear. And we have the capacity to do this thing. We will not have the capacity until we get to a point where we see this thing as a national issue, not the administration of President Buhari. Before President Buhari came on board, we had report. In 2014, we had report that indicted the military. In 2012, we had report. It shows that the character of leadership in Nigeria may be very similar, if not the same, because it is this same approach of President Buhari that the past government, the same thing they are doing at the defensive method of thinking, oh, this is actually against us. Because at that point in time, I even heard top government official saying that it was, I think in 2014, that it was APC that was behind the report.
Then the opponent.
Now, is it PDP that is behind the report?
All right, Justice, in the eyes of the law, how grievous are these allegations if they are found to be true?
Yeah, you see, Amnesty International is a body recognized by United Nations and so many other groups all over the world. And it does not actually augur well with our status. That is just the simple truth. And when you look at it, that report goes a long way to determine the level of human rights violation in the country. And that is why you see the United Nations and all these agencies coming up every year with human rights compliances, and they rate countries. And let me tell you, Amnesty International, by implication, has even the right to further take most of this country, any country they feel that has done anything to violate human rights. Because if you look at the United Nations on human rights laws, the African Charter on Peoples and Human Rights, anybody, any individual has the right to go to court. 3 issues: when your rights has been infringed, likely to be infringed, and about to be infringed, you can go to court. Remember, there are Nigerians that are members of the Amnesty International. So by implication, they also have right to go to court. So it is like, so it has so much legal implications. But let me tell you this. Before, like what my brother said, what is killing us in this country is party politics. Until the day we rise up and say, no, we must live above board. Look at what happened in Kenya last time. The 2 rival parties has come together and said, no, this thing cannot continue. We are killing ourselves. This is our nation. We must move forward. But here, because of sycophancy and wickedness. Why I want to point out this is because some people, before you know it now, they will start telling you that the military has no, the National Assembly or the Senate has no right to investigate or to even set up a panel to probe. Yes. Like some people have been saying that the summons by the National Assembly to the IGP, that it is unconstitutional. I thought this is wrong. When we try to play to the gallery, I want to take you to Section 88 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. It gave the National Assembly the right to conduct investigation into any ministry or any authority. Read down. Then if you go to Section 89, subsection 1, paragraph C, I'm telling people this so that they can know, because I have had so many people come out to say so many things. That also section also gave the National Assembly to summon any person. It says summon any person in Nigeria to give evidence at any place. So what makes the IGP a different person? Is he not a person? By implication, they even have the right to summon the president. And that is why the president will be summoned and he will answer. And if the law even went further, the Constitution even went further to say that they have the right to impose fine and execute it as if it is a judgment of the court. I don't know where we're going in this country.
But the president has never been summoned in Nigeria.
No. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Maybe the need has not arrived. You remember last time in South Africa, the assembly summoned the president. And if you remember, you watched the clips.
It was a tough...
It was a tough... Somebody said, Mr. President, you cannot talk in this forum because you are a corrupt person. Can it happen in Nigeria?
Members of opposition
The National
parties.
Assembly in this country, the other day, tried to amend the guideline for the next coming election. A problem came up. They stepped it down. Where are we?
All right, Justice, don't let us deviate from the amnesty.
No, they are circumstantial things, because we are looking at how would this country move on. That I am president today, I'm the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, and not for my political party. Fortunately or unfortunately, before you run for any political position, you must belong to a political party. It's just a ladder for you to get somewhere. So until we stop party politics and look at the nation as Nigeria, we can never make a headway.
All right, Doctor, would it be really difficult, to find out if these things happen or not? The IDP's camps are there.
It will not be difficult if there's the will to do it. Ideally, before a documentary on codeine and all these people going on codeine diet, before it became public, we were thinking that, okay, to actually get them will be difficult. But you can actually do it. Technology has made everything easy. And I think the government should act very fast. Not because of any reason, but because of the fact that these abuses are not happening at the forefront, at the forefront of crisis. They are happening at the base. In other words, you have actually rescued the people. You have given them hope that, come, I'm going to help you. And you dump them at the place and you start abusing them. It is criminal. It is criminal. The more reason,
allegedly.
Allegedly, it is criminal if it is happening. But to a certain extent, I'm part of the many Nigerians who believe that such things are going on. Because even outside of the IDP camp, I have seen a situation where a mother gives out her daughter for sex just to put food on the table. There's poverty in the land and people want to escape by all means. And that's exactly what's happening. This IDP camp, maybe you've never been to one. So many IDP camps in Nigeria are just an opportunity for government officials to make money. If you get there, many of them feed just once. And these are the beans that they eat in prison yard. You cannot eat that. This is the reality, Mike. I visited one or two. These people hardly feed. So when authorities, including military, are in charge of food, and they're asking you that, oh, before I will give you food, at least something reasonable, I must sleep with you, then you'll be ready to sleep.
All right, it's quite sad with the picture, the mind picture there. It's really sad if these things are really happening. But we have a Nigeria Human Rights Commission, Justice Uwebu. What is the place of that commission in issues like this?
You know, my problem is that, unfortunately, we have politicized everything. And unfortunately, you see, I keep on saying this, and not until we decide to be proactive and to walk with our conscience and to have fear of God, we can never make a headway. Let me tell you one thing. And that's why I have said severally, must the executive be allowed to make every appointment, every sensitive appointment? Who appoints the chairman of the National Human Rights Commission? Is he not the same executive? Is he not an arm of the executive? Is he not a department of the executive? You see, the problem we have in this country is the issue of checks and balances. Montesquieu, who propounded the theory of separation of power, said it ab initio, that the essence is to avoid tyranny, that is abuse of power. That each arm must be a watchdog to the other. Today, the National Assembly that wants to be a watchdog to the executive has been termed, labeled a bad omen, because they are playing their role, their constitutional function. That is how it's supposed to be. There must be checks and balances. But unfortunately, let me tell you, if you allow me, or if you tell me, I will prefer or suggest that most of all these sensitive appointments should come even from the National Assembly. You know why? No. Because the National Assembly, there is not only one political party. There are many political parties coming, in as much as there will be minority, there will be majority. But at least the minority will always have their say. But we play a government of winner takes all in this country.
Yeah, but with that kind of a winner takes all that you are saying, would it be likely that if you say the National Assembly should make all the appointments, the opposition is going to have a say in
No, understand me. Even if they have their way, but at least in the floor of the house, Nigerians will know that there were oppositions to certain.
Well, Nigerians witnessed some screening of some nominees where they were just practically asked to take a bow.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And nothing happened.
If you look at all those ones,
No
if you look at all those, there are people naturally that have credibility, pedigree, that everybody will say, okay, just take a bow and go. But when we talk about sensitive positions, you will now begin to understand that it will be debated seriously. So the debate will now make Nigerians to be informed. And the person going will not know that there are people watching you.
I think
with cause of some apologies, the director says we have to just wrap it here. Justice Uhuegbu, human rights lawyer, and Dotun Ojon, leadership and communication strategist. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming.
You're welcome.